how you report. I thought I should make that point up front because every time we meet, people believe in what is called insiders. And insiders give you what you want to hear. You have a responsibility as a media. Whether it's News 24, I don't see News 24 Matlatsi here, no, wait. I spoke to Matlatsi about it because she ran a story. We spoke to the management of TISO Black Star. There are a number of titles that ran fake news stories of TISO. Power is here. I think they misled their listeners up until this stage. We're now going to hear an official report and a statement of what transpired from the meeting. That's why it's always important to wait the official statement post-meeting. Even if you think that you've got enough sources, they may mislead you, like they misled you over the past 3 days. Shall I now invite the Secretary General of the ANC, Comrade Samson Gwede-Mantashe, to give an official statement of the ANC?
Thank you very much, Cesar. Thank you to the members of the media. I'm left with 4 weeks to the end of my second term. In 4 weeks, I will have completed 10 years as Secretary General. So people are in a hurry to suspend me. When I'm left with 4 weeks, they're actually making a mistake. You can't allow me to stay here for 9 years, 11 months, and say you'll suspend me not to do 4 weeks. What is the issue? I must say I was disappointed by a number of journalists that I respect, because you see, when you work with journalists, you develop respect for them. But when they do things that are strange, they lose that respect from you. No, don't take it, that journalist serious. Put her on the bargaining bay. We met over the last 3 days as the NEC of the ANC in a special NEC meeting. We dealt with a few issues in the main. We dealt with the preparations for the National Conference. We dealt with the Eastern Cape report. We dealt with the Lower South Coast in KZN. And in the main, those are the issues that we focused on in the special meeting. We see that we're rounding off the work of a term. That's why we will see that the meetings we call are more focused meetings than general meetings of the NEC. The African National Congress is confident of a successful 54th National Conference on the 16th to 20th of December. The conference will be convened under the theme, Remember Tambo, Towards Unity, Renewal and Radical Socio-Economic Transformation, and is expected to be attended by 5,240 voting delegates. I'm repeating, 5,240 voting delegates, 90% of whom will be delegates elected in properly correcting branch general meetings, and more than 60% of our branches across the country have already convened PGMs. I want to give you a sense of where we are and where we need to intervene to accelerate the process. The troubled province of the Eastern Cape is, as of yesterday, was at 56% of the PGMs. That's where it was. The Free State was at 75.9% of the PGMs. Gauteng was at 76% of the PGMs. KZN was at 40.8% of the PGMs. Mpumalanga was at 95.7%. Limpopo was at 73.8%. Northern Cape was at 93.9%. Northwest was at 54.3%. And Western Cape was at 66.3%. Obviously, we'll see where we need to intervene. That there are basically 3 provinces that needs to be helped to accelerate the process. It will be your Eastern Cape, your KZN, and your Northern Cape. The others are having capability of finishing their PGMs. This report doesn't include PGMs that were held yesterday. It's up to the end of the weekend. And that's where we are. I think let me deal with this thing of extension of the bill. We're not extending PGMs. The closing date is tomorrow, the 15th. We'll allow PGMs to go into the weekend. We'll do that. That's not an extension. We'll not extend. The closing date is the 15th. We allow them to go into the weekend, and that's it. And provinces must push the BGM to be completed at the latest. The mercy we're giving them is into the weekend. The remainder are expected to complete this process not later than tomorrow, the 15th. As I have said, we're also dealing with the disputes of the BGMs, which must be lodged within with the ANC within 48 hours. The NEC has established dispute teams who are in all the 9 provinces. I can tell you that, for example, the dispute team in Mpumalanga has started working last week. The dispute team in the Northern Cape is in the Northern Cape. As we speak, I can give you a breakdown of those. They are working on the dispute. These teams shall be responsible for the timely resolution of all disputes emanating from the nominating process. The NEC has commended these provinces that are doing well. I've listed them for you. The NEC has reaffirmed the principle that while no member of the ANC in good standing must be denied an opportunity to participate in the BGM, to ensure that in terms of our processes, only audited members must be able to vote in the nomination process and be elected as delegates to conference. This is to ensure that we do not tamper with the quorum of the meeting and the allocated delegation of the branch. The correspondence in this regard will be sent out again. So we said, allow good members of the ANC in good standing to participate. But as the NEC dealt with the details of that matter, it came to the conclusion that says, listen, let's allow everybody to participate with a member in good standing. But if you are not audited, you're going to distort the allocation of delegates, because delegates are allocated to provinces in terms of audited membership. And number 2, you will tamper with the quorum. That's why we said they must sign in a separate register. And therefore, that correspondence stands, but it will be clarified further today. The NEC condemns in the strongest terms reported incidents of violence at some of the PGMs. While they seem isolated, they nevertheless fly in the face of the discipline of the ANC. Because when there's violence in a PGM, what is covered in the news is violence in PGMs. And therefore, people begin to feel that there's just violence in the PGMs of the ANC. But the reality of the matter is that any incident of violence flies in the face of the principles of the ANC. We further condemn the continued production and display of factional paraphernalia in ANC meetings and call on ANC members to desist from such practices. And in that way, we're not fighting with the people who are candidates and hopefuls for presidency. But we don't think that in ANC meetings come with a paraphernalia that is reflecting your preference. Come to an ANC meeting with an ANC t-shirt. It's a very good brand. This is the brand we must protect. We must not create sub-brands. So we're quite happy with the brand ANC, and that's what must go to meetings of the ANC. The 54th National Conference is an opportunity to renew and re-energize the ANC towards the advancement of national democratic revolution. We are confident our structures will complete the preparatory processes expected of them within the due time, so that our focus remains on policies and programs that will rejuvenate the economy, implement radical economic transformation, and address the triple challenge of poverty, unemployment, and inequality. The NEC received a report on the appeal of the Lower South Coast in KwaZulu-Natal, according to which the REC was appealing the decision of the peace to withdraw executive powers from the REC, especially in relation to municipal oversight and membership management. The REC is expected to continue doing its work over those areas. After the deliberation on the report, the NEC resolved to affirm the decision of the PEC that the region must convene the regional conference within 6 months and uphold the decision of the PEC to withdraw the powers of the REC in respect of membership management and the oversight on municipal work. And the PEC will exercise the oversight over the municipalities. But we are emphasizing the fact that otherwise the RSs must continue doing their work, including the overseeing of PGMs as we prepare for the conference. Now, the NEC reflected at length on the Eastern Cape 8th Provincial Conference. A number of reports were received in relation to the conference, firstly from the NEC deployees who had been mandated to be part of the preparations towards and during the conference, a second report from the newly elected PEC, finally complaint from the PEC members, which was subsequently changed into an appeal. NEC further considered the work done by the national officials following the receipt of the complaint. Let me explain this because it's one area that is appearing to be clouded, is that the team led by the Premier, former chairperson of the ANC, was a complaint and concern. And in the last visit to the Eastern Cape, they said, no, that is an appeal, which changed the complexion of the work that was being done by the officials and the NWC. And the report noted the following concerns, that these were, that there was violence which resulted in a number of comrades being injured. That is an issue. And the NEC strongly condemns violence, threats and destruction of property. This conduct flies against the ANC tradition, values, and culture. The NEC expressed its deepest sympathy to the comrades who were injured in the process. Serious allegations were also made of the premeditated plan to collapse the conference. The NEC is unequivocal on the need to ensure that all incidents that took place will be investigated expeditiously, and this includes identifying those responsible for inciting violence. The NEC condemns the use of violence as a means to win any nomination or election at all costs. The NEC resolved to institute an appeal panel to the Eastern Cape, which will be composed of 4 NEC members and 3 other technical people who will back up that team of 4. The 4 members who were in that team, officially now, leave the speculation in Power FM and everywhere else. The team will be chaired by Spoondabel. That is the chairperson of that team. Members of that team will be Rejoice Mabutafasi, Joyce Moloi Murupa, and Situmo Dlamini. Those are the 4 NEC that will be in the team that will investigate the conference of the Eastern Cape. Let me repeat the names because you have published many names that we do not know. The chair of the team is Spoondabel. The other 3 members is Rejoice Mabutafasi, is Joyce Moloi Murupa, and Comrade Situmo Dlamini. Those are the 4 NEC people who are investigating the conference of the Eastern Cape. Any other names are an imagination of individuals who talk to journalists where they are privy to have access to. And I apologize to those journalists who have been made to be loudspeakers of affection, which plant stories for stories to look genuine. They became loud hailers of affection. You see, and when affection is desperate, it does funny things. And if journalists are not cautious about being spokesperson of factions, they are going to be looking desperate as well. Now, the NEC noted the Southern Communist Party's intention to contest the by-elections in Metsima Hulu municipality in the Free State. and later this month. The NEC views this decision as regrettable, particularly in a marginal municipality such as Metsimaholo. In line with the decision of the Alliance Political Council held last month, the NEC has called on the follow-up meeting to be held without delay, and the NEC must further interrogate and engage the resolution of the SACP on state power and its implication for the alliance. The ANC remains committed to engaging the party on this matter and ensuring that the alliance, united and strong, continues to provide the leadership to society required from the alliance. So in our view is that when you put a parallel team to campaign in a municipality like Metsimaholo, you are actually setting a light on petrol. You are raising the tensions in the alliance to the limit. And I think when we engage the party, that this will be understood. The 52nd National Conference of the ANC adopted education as an apex priority and the need to ensure the progressive realization of free education for the working class and the poor. This was in pursuance of our stated objective to open the doors of learning and culture, as well ensure that higher education and technical training is open to all by means of state allowance and scholarship awarded on the basis of merit. That is from the Freedom Charter. While to welcome the result of the Higher Commission, there are a number of areas which are of concern to the ANC, which we trust government will consider in the process of responding to the recommendation of the Commission. The report misses some key tenets of the progressive agenda we seek to drive. Free education for the poor and the working class is not under discussion. It is a policy position of the ANC. What the ANC expects, rather, is a discussion on the modalities to implement it. Yeah, that is not being populist. We adopted this policy long time ago. It is a policy of the ANC, and we're hoping that people must understand that how do we implement this long-standing resolution of the ANC. The ANC calls on government to reject, for example, the proposal of cost-sharing model, which will further indebt students and the different classification of students. The ANC will further study the comprehensive report and engage government on how practical and urgently we advance the attainment of free higher education for the working class and the poor. You must remember that in our last Lekgotla, we adopted a resolution on phasing in free education for the poor and the working class. That was the resolution of the ANC Lekgotla. We didn't have the report of the High Commission. We're hoping that government will take into account what was considered as urgent by the African National Congress. Thank you, sis.